What kind of a name is Erik Erikson? A little redundant, right? After I tell you this story, you will likely never forget his name again. When you are old and in a nursing home someday and cannot remember your own kids' names, you will still likely remember Erik Erikson. Erik Erikson was not born Erik Erikson. He was born Erik Humberger. His father, Dr. Humberger, married his mother while she was pregnant with Erik, meaning his real dad abandoned him and his mother. Erik was raised to think that Dr. Humberger was his biological father. He had a very contentious relationship with his father. Erik wanted to be an artist, but his dad really pushed for him to be a medical doctor. When Erik was 18, he found out that Dr. Humberg was not his real dad and that this had been hidden from him. That was the last straw, so he left home and he backpacked around Europe for a number of months, trying to sell his paintings on streets, beaches, etc. Erik got hungry. He learned something really important. While he was a true art connoisseur and always would be, he was not really that talented as an artist. And right about that time, Erik met Anna Freud, Freud's daughter, yes. By then, a prominent psychologist in her own right. And Erik fell in love, you might say, with psychology. Anna recognized Erik as having the intellect and compassion needed to become an excellent therapist. So she took him under her wing and helped guide him through what you would think of today as his undergraduate and graduate work. Erik became a prominent psychologist then himself in his own right. By the way, it was when Erik found his passion, psychology, that he changed his name to Erik Erikson. He claimed that the redundancy stood for the fact that he was a self-made man. Erik Erikson, son of himself, son of Erik. Do you think perhaps he still had some daddy issues? Erik was the first psychologist to propose a lifelong theory of personality development, focusing on social skills. And his is still the leading theory, the one for which we have the most evidence today. His theory outlines critical windows of development in your social self, which is why he calls it his psychosocial theory, not to be confused with Freud's psychosexual theory coming next week. So let's test your previous learning this week regarding Erikson's psychosocial theory. For each stage, you learned an age range, a psychosocial question, and the possible consequences depending on how the question is answered. And when we talk about the possible consequences, remember that consequences, there are two of them, are the name of each stage, right? So the first one, for instance, a consequence would be either trust or mistrust in your social self as a default. So pause the video here and then come back and we will compare answers. Okay, so the first stage is trust versus mistrust, and that would be 0 to 1.5 years of age, 0 to 1.5. The second one, autonomy versus shame and doubt, is 1.5 to 3. The third one, initiative versus guilt, is 3 to 6. Fourth one, industry versus inferiority, 6 to puberty. Just put puberty. The next one, identity versus confusion, just remember adolescence. Intimacy versus isolation would be early adulthood. Generativity versus self-absorption, middle adulthood. integrity versus despair, and that would be late adulthood. Number 1 is intimacy versus isolation. Number 2, industry versus inferiority. Number 3, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Number 4, integrity and despair. Number 5, trust versus mistrust. Number 6, industry versus guilt. Number 7, identity versus confusion. Number 8, generativity versus self-absorption.